My girlfriend and her feminist friends mocked my emotions. Now I'm thriving, and she's begging to reconcile. Hey Reddit. When I started dating Sarah, I thought I had hit the jackpot. She was intelligent, confident, and fiercely independent. She had a group of close-knit friends who were all strong, opinionated women. At first, I admired them. They seemed so driven and passionate about their beliefs. But as time went on, I realized their confidence often crossed into condescension, especially when it came to men expressing vulnerability. I've always been someone who values open communication. Growing up, my dad taught me that real strength lies in sharing your emotions. I carried that into my relationships, believing that honesty and vulnerability build a stronger bond. But with Sarah, it felt like my openness was a punchline. It started small. One night, after a rough day at work, I opened up to her about feeling overwhelmed and undervalued by my boss. Instead of empathy, she smirked and said, "Oh, come on, you're a man. You're supposed to handle stress better than us." I laughed it off, convincing myself it was a joke. But it didn't stop there. Whenever I expressed frustration, sadness, or even excitement, Sarah would subtly or not so subtly mock me. Sometimes she'd roll her eyes or make sarcastic comments, and other times she'd share my struggles with her friends in a way that made me sound pathetic. The breaking point came at a dinner party she hosted with her friends. I had a particularly bad weekend. Thinking I was in a safe space, I shared my feelings about my work struggles. One of her friends laughed and said, "Wow, your boyfriend sounds like a walking therapy session." Another chimed in, "I thought men were supposed to be the strong, silent type." Instead of defending me, Sarah joined in, laughing and saying, "I know, right? He's like a delicate flower sometimes." I felt humiliated. These were people I trusted, and my girlfriend was leading the charge against me. That night, as we cleaned up after the party, I confronted her. I told her how hurt I was by her comments and how unsupported I felt. Her response? "You're overreacting. It's just banter. You need to toughen up." That was the moment I realized our relationship wasn't a partnership. It was a performance for her and her friends, where my emotions were a joke. I decided I couldn't keep subjecting myself to this. The next morning, I told her we needed to talk. She brushed me off, saying she was busy. I packed a bag, left a note explaining how I felt, and walked out of her apartment for the last time. The first few weeks were tough. I missed her, despite everything. But I also felt an overwhelming sense of relief. I started therapy, dove into my hobbies, and reconnected with friends I had neglected during our relationship. Slowly, I began to rediscover myself. I also threw myself into work, not as a distraction but as a challenge. I wanted to prove to myself that I could thrive without her negativity weighing me down. I started taking on bigger projects, networking more, and putting myself out there. It paid off. I got promoted to a position I had been eyeing for years. As I grew, I noticed something else. I wasn't just thriving professionally, I was also happier. My friends commented on how much more confident and relaxed I seemed. Even my parents noticed the change. Then, about 6 months after the breakup, I got a text from Sarah. It started innocently enough, "Hey, how have you been?" I didn't respond immediately. Part of me wanted to ignore her, but curiosity got the better of me. We exchanged a few polite messages before she dropped the bomb. "I've been thinking about us a lot. I miss you. Can we talk?" I was stunned. The woman who had mocked me for months was now saying she missed me? I agreed to meet her, more out of curiosity than anything else. When we met, she seemed different, quieter, less confident. She apologized for how she had treated me and admitted that she and her friends had been unfair. She said she admired how open I was with my emotions and that she realized, after dating someone else who was completely closed off, how much she had taken me for granted. Her words should have been validating, but instead, I felt a mix of sadness and frustration. I told her I appreciated her apology, but I couldn't ignore how her behavior had made me feel. I explained that while I had forgiven her, I had no interest in going back to a relationship where I wasn't respected. She begged me to reconsider, even saying she'd cut ties with her friends if that's what it took. But I had made up my mind. I told her I was happy now, and I wasn't willing to risk my peace for someone who only valued me after I left. Walking away from that conversation felt like closing a chapter. It was bittersweet, but it also reaffirmed how far I had come. Today, I'm thriving in every sense of the word. I've built a life filled with people who genuinely support me, and I've learned to value myself in a way I never did before. Sarah's apology was a reminder of why I left and a testament to the fact that I made the right decision. Some people only realize your worth when you're no longer there, but by then, it's often too late. For anyone out there doubting their worth because of how someone treats them, remember this: You deserve to be with someone who celebrates your emotions, not someone who ridicules them. As for Sarah? I heard through mutual friends that she's still single and occasionally brings up how she regrets losing me. But that's her journey to navigate, not mine. My focus is on living a life that's true to who I am, and I'm not looking back. That's all for today's video, folks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for more exciting content. See you next time.